Good morning, my little Sunday morning littles. I hope that you've had a great week. I hope that you've also had an opportunity to watch last week's Sunday school lesson about mothers, and so I hope that all mothers had a great week as well too. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about something that's going on now in our lives, and we're going to be applying it and looking at some things that are very much similar to it from the Bible and from Bible times. So today, I know that all of you realize that the times are a lot different than they were several months ago. As you look around you, you ended your school year early. I know mine ended early. You also were not able to go into our church building for Sunday school right now. And we're having to do our Sunday schools like this. And I haven't got to see you face to face or hug you or high five you or any of those things in about 2 months. We've also got some places I'm sure that you love to go with your friends, like parks or maybe playgrounds or different places that you may go to jump on those really cool jumpy things, just all those different things that you like to do as a child. Many of those places are closed and you don't get to do that. I'm sure we all have a favorite restaurant. I mean, I do. But it seems like those favorite restaurants are either closed or we can't go and sit down and eat in those favorite restaurants right now. So most of our time has been spent at home. And we've been, yes, with our family, but we've not been able to get out and do the things that we like to do to pass the time away sometimes. And that's a little bit different than what life has been like for all of us. Because for as long as I can remember, I've pretty much went and gone to church on Sunday mornings and hugged my church family. And when I go to school each morning or go to teach each morning at school, I could hug my students and I could talk to my students, and I can't do that anymore. I miss my sweet Danielle. I haven't got to hug her in so long. Yes, I can talk to her on the phone and I can maybe FaceTime her or something like that, but it's not the same. And I definitely haven't spent as much time with Colton and Connor and Miley and Maisie either. So my life has changed a little bit too. And I know that it is all because of that COVID-19 virus and the quarantine of having us all stay in our homes so we don't spread that virus. So we all know why we're in our homes, and we all know what's causing that. It's that sickness or that disease called COVID-19 right now. Well, I just wanted to kind of help you think a little bit because there were diseases like this in Jesus' time. Oh, yeah. I'm going to refer to a Bible verse for you real quick. And when I refer to this Bible verse, I want you to think a little bit about what it tells you when it comes to Jesus healing sickness. Now, right before we read it, I do want to say in the Bible, of course, there's stories of Jesus healing people who are blind, who cannot see. There's stories of Jesus healing people who are lame, who cannot walk, and all kinds of disabilities like that he is capable still of healing. But in this particular Bible verse, it talks about diseases and sicknesses. Okay, so I'm going to let you read with me. Now, there's a lot of words on this Bible verse, and that's okay because I'll read them. I want you to pay really close attention to the words right down here at the bottom that have kind of sort of got several different colors on them. Okay, that's what I want you to pay really good attention to. So let's listen carefully. Here we go. And Jesus went about all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom, and healing every sickness and every disease among the people. And that's from Matthew 9:35. Now let's go back. It doesn't say he healed one sickness and two diseases. It doesn't say he healed 2 sicknesses and 45 diseases. Oh no, it says he healed every sickness and every disease among the people. Now, COVID-19 is a disease or a sickness that's among the people. And so if he healed back then, he can heal now. Yeah, it's just that simple. It's the truth. It's in the Bible. We know that. I just don't know why it's so hard to understand. But the thing about this whole COVID-19 is we don't know God's time frame on this. We know he can take it away. We know he can heal it. And we know he's allowing it to happen for some reason. But we don't know his time frame on when all this is going to be over. And sometimes that's a little hard for us. It is. It's a little hard. And keeping that in mind, we're going to always try to remember that no matter if we know a time frame, we must know that God is in control. And we, as Christians, just have to believe and trust in him. He's the one that's controlling the time, not us. Okay? Now, in the Bible, there are, like Mrs. Michelle had said, several stories about Jesus and his healing. The story that I'm going to use today is about healing of a sickness or a disease. Okay? He's more than capable of handling the disabilities of not being able to walk or not being able to talk or whatever, but he is more than capable of handling and healing all those diseases. And that's what this story is about. Now, this story, of course, is coming from Luke chapter 17, and it's verses 11 through 19. If mommy or daddy or someone would like to read with you in the Bible the story, that's where it is. Miss Michelle's going to kind of talk about it, and we're going to think a little bit about the disease that's in this story, okay? When Jesus walked on earth, there was a disease during that time called leprosy. Now, leprosy was a disease that caused white spots or bumps to come upon your skin. Now, this is just an outline of my hand, and I know we've worked in Sunday school before. We've put little white stickers all over us and to kind of signify leprosy. But leprosy was a disease that caused white bumps or spots on your body, on your skin. And people didn't want to be around you if you had leprosy. They didn't want to be around you because they thought if you just accidentally touched one of those white spots, then you could get the disease. Now, I want you to think, we're in our homes most of the time. We're wearing face masks. We're trying to wash our hands all the time. We're trying to stay away from COVID-19. In Bible times, in order to stay away from leprosy, the person who had the leprosy had to be sent away. That person had to be sent away to live with other lepers or to live alone because they couldn't be with their family. And you know, that's kind of sort of the way things are right now. You may be with some of your family, but not all of your family. So there's really not a tremendous amount of things that are different from the Bible time and now. Because during this time of COVID-19, we're being kept away from one another because we just simply don't want to spread that disease. So I really know that Jesus knows the feeling in my heart on all this, and he saw all this before in Bible times, of course, when he walked the earth, when leprosy was there. And leprosy was a disease that no one wanted to catch. Now stop and think, if you were a leper, you had to be sent away. You had to be sent away far from your family. You had to live with other lepers, people who had that disease, or you just had to live alone. So at one point in time, Jesus was walking and he was talking and he was teaching as he was walking, and he heard someone yell at him. And there were 10 men who had this dreaded disease of leprosy that were yelling at him from afar. So that means that they were not close. They were social distancing from Jesus. They were far from him, but they were hollering at Jesus because they wanted Jesus' attention. They wanted to talk to Jesus. They knew that if they could talk to Jesus, that they could be healed. They could ask to be healed of that dreaded leprosy. They knew that. And so Jesus was walking along, and they called out to him. And so when they called out to him, he spoke to them. And he told them, Jesus told those lepers, he said, "Oh, you have great faith." And he said, "I want you to go to the temple to see the priest." Now, in Bible times, if you had leprosy, if you were cured of leprosy, or if it had gone away, you were to go to the priest, and the priest was to tell you whether or not you could come back in to be with your family, or whether you could be part of that church again, or whether you had to go back to the other lepers and stay with them longer. So Jesus just called back to those 10 lepers, and he said, "Go on, go to see the priest. Go show him you're going to be healed." And you know what? Those 10 lepers went. They went to the priest because Jesus was going to heal them. And by the time they got to the priest, they were healed. Now, only one of those little lepers came back to thank Jesus. And that's a whole other different story. That's a whole other different lesson. We can get off on that being thankful. But I want you to realize that Jesus healed not just one, he healed them all. He healed all 10 of them. And by the time they got to the priest, their spots were gone. So just like our Bible verse told us, Jesus can heal every sickness and every disease. Not just one, not just leprosy, every single one of them. He can. So Jesus is our healer, and one day this whole COVID-19 virus is going to be a thing of the past. It's going to be gone. And we're going to be looking back on this time, and we're going to be thinking about how Jesus has brought us through it. He's brought us through it on his time frame, not ours. But we just had to have the mentality and the belief that he was in control of it and we weren't. And we were just going to have to wait. We were going to have to do what we had to do during that time until Jesus saw fit to heal the land of COVID-19. Now, it's been very aggravating. It has. It's been very stressful on us. We want to see our friends. We want to get to do things. We want all that. We really do. And it's been very hard for us to wait, but we just have to. We have to remember that Jesus is much bigger than any disability or any sort of disease or sickness that may be there in front of us. Our God is much, much bigger. So when Mrs. Michelle first started doing these lessons online, I can remember saying, "I believe we're going to be back in our building. I believe we're going to be back in our building." And I still believe that. I still believe we're going to be back in our building for Sunday school soon. I just don't know when. So this time that you're having to stay at home, or maybe not get to go everywhere that you wanted to and all that, I want you to think you're at least with your family. You're at least with some of your family, let's say. You're not a leper who's been sent away to live alone or live with only other sick people. You're with your family. And in your little brain, in your little heart, you know that Jesus is going to take care of it for you if you just wait it out and live on his time frame, right? Okay, I want you to understand that what's happening to us is no different than what happened in Bible times. And Jesus took care of that just like he's taking care of this. Now, if you would like to think about this little activity here, it's not really all that hard to make a leper's hand like this. You could get a piece of paper and you could draw your hand. You could get a piece of paper and maybe draw your mommy's or daddy's, mama, papa, nana, nana, whoever. You could draw their hand, just trace around their hand. I know you've done that before. Now, I just use white paint to make my little leprosy dots there. But you could probably use cotton. You could put little pieces of cotton. You could use dots of white paper if you wanted to. It doesn't matter what you use for that if you'd like to make this. But the cool thing that I want you to remember is if you do make this and you do decide to make this leprosy hand, or hand that has leprosy, or whatever you want to call it, if you do decide to do that, I want you to take a Band-Aid and I want you to put over that little hand a Band-Aid that looks like this. Now, what do you think that Band-Aid signifies? What do you think that Band-Aid means? It's got a red heart on it. What do you think that might be? That signifies that Jesus can heal. He can heal. So I even have extra Band-Aids. Now, I don't know if Mommy wants you to use all of her Band-Aids, but maybe if you have a few Band-Aids, you could take those Band-Aids and you can just take a marker, draw a little red heart on that, and you can put that over some of those dots. Yeah, because Jesus is going to heal. He is in the healing business. That's what he does. He does. So you could put as many Band-Aids over that as you wanted to. You could refer back to your Bible verse of Matthew 9:35. And it says that Jesus heals every sickness and every disease. Now, that's a lot of words. That's a lot of words. Miss Michelle had to read all of those, and some of those words are really big. But I have a smaller little version of that Bible verse, and I've got some motions to kind of help you. So if you decide to make yourself a leprosy hand, and then maybe put some Band-Aids over top of it, signifying that Jesus can heal any and every sickness or disease, you can remember it like this. You can think of the words, and Jesus, and you know how to sign Jesus, and Jesus healed many. You can take your hands out and like this for many. Jesus healed many who had various, and this touching your little head right here and taking your finger and touching your tummy, that means sick. So various diseases. Okay? So you can remember that. And Jesus healed many who had various diseases. Various diseases is the same thing as every sickness or every disease. Okay? All right. So let's see if we can do that one more time to help you remember that Bible verse. Okay? It's Matthew 9:35. This is a smaller little version of it. You ready? Okay, here we go. And Jesus healed many who had various diseases. Yeah, they were sick. Yeah, true. See if you can practice that over and over. It helps you so, especially if you decide to make the leprosy hand. Okay? All right, my littles, I'm so happy for you. I'm glad that I at least get to be with you like this. And I hope that maybe next week we can talk a little bit more about some issues that we may be seeing or things that may be happening to us during this quarantine time. And we can kind of try to relate it to some things that happened in the New Testament. And we know that we can always trust in God and believe in God and know that He's going to heal us and know that He's going to take care of us. But sometimes it's really nice to hear stories from back in Bible times to help us to remember and to remind us of that, okay? So we may talk a little bit more about this quarantine time in our lesson next week. It'll be a little bit different, but there may be some issues that we're seeing in this day and time then. And I also wanted to tell you that another little thing that you could do just kind of out of kindness if you wanted to, if you didn't really want to make the leprosy hand, you can always send a get well card or make a get well card for any of your friends who are sick. Sometimes just being kind and sending a little card or drawing a picture for someone that is maybe shut in all by themselves and they don't have family during this time. Making them a little get well card and reminding them that Jesus is going to heal them and take care of them. Sometimes that's all our friends or our family members need, is to be reminded that during this time, Jesus is going to take care of us. He is, and He's going to heal our land. And Miss Michelle's going to pray, and I'm going to pray this week for you and pray that you'll be back with me next Sunday. And I'm going to pray for all of those who are sick, because my God will heal every sickness and every disease. I love you, littles, and I know you're smart, and I know that you will really, really think about doing something kind to help someone who's sick, okay? I will see you hopefully soon and very soon in our building, but if God's time frame is not next week, then we will come together on the little computer here, just like we're doing today. All right? I hope you have a great week, littles. I'm going to attach a link to this video. It's a funny little song by VeggieTales about what to do when you're scared and worried. Okay? All right. Have a good week.